good evening, and welcome to My Mom Talks to Dead People. I'm your host, LeeAnne Moody, and I'm here every Thursday evening at 7:30 on the Spiritual Broadcast Network. We're really happy that you've joined us this evening. I am very happy that you've joined me this evening for a conversation about our higher self, about our soul's journey, about our physical reality, and about how we can take a different approach and to look at our lives from a place of productive growth and joy-filled learning versus some of the experiences that seem to be taking us by the wayside and confusing us. We are here every Thursday night at 7:30, as I said, and it is Eastern Standard Time, by the way. And directly following my show typically is The Upside of You with Brian Hill, and that comes on at 9 o'clock every Thursday evening, except this evening. Brian's daughter is actually graduating with her PhD this weekend, and he is with her celebrating, and so we want to wish her a lot of wonderful things with her education and her life, and he's also spending time with his grandchildren. So anyway, we miss you, Brian, and have a great time. While with that said, I would like to acknowledge that I will have some friends here in the studio with me tonight. Johnny, who has a new show coming. Johnny, what's the name of your new show coming up?
Tales of Inspiration.
Tales of Inspiration. That's going to be starting, do we know when yet?
Tuesday.
This coming Tuesday?
I think Tuesday at 7.
Tuesday at 7
Is that May, what, 12th? May, do we know? Anyway, it's the coming Tuesday, so it's May 6th now. Y'all have to do the math
May
on
the
that.
11th.
May the 11th. Thank you very much.
May the 11th, 7:30 Eastern Standard Time.
Right, so you don't want to miss that. And Johnny's going to be in the sound booth with us this evening, and he may pop in now and then and have a few questions for me or help me get on point if I lose point. For anybody who's joined us in the past, you know that I can get out there, but I will come back into the space where we can all understand what's happening. And then we have George in the studio as well, and Bonnie. So we got a whole bunch of people here to join in if you hear conversation taking place. And the whole idea, which I love that all the studio, the people in the studio are working with what I'm doing, is that it sets up the conversation. And what I'd like for you to do out there is to also involve yourself in the conversation. You'll find the number to the studio, which is 941-706-7905, and that's in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. And we would love to have you call in at any time, and it takes a few moments for us to get you hooked up and everything. So if you call in and I'm talking, doesn't matter, I'll keep talking. They have to call you back and set it all up. So just go ahead and start making those calls now so we know that you want to connect in, and we will absolutely include you in the conversation. And speaking of the conversation, what I'd like to get across to you is this is an interactive experience, an interactive program. And what I do for a living is that I am an empath, and I'm a multidimensional channel for higher consciousness. Now, the name of what I do, multidimensional channel of higher consciousness, was created so that I could find some way to try and describe what happens to me. I am what I would self-described as a normal girl who has very unusual experiences. And I'm a human being in a human body who remembers not having a body, and has actually felt at times, many times in my life, that it was easier to be in the non-physical than in the physical. So I have wanted to avoid the physicality at certain times in my life, and I've been having to learn on my journey how to stay in my body, how to ground my energy, and therefore how to use my gifts and abilities at a much higher vibration. Now, you'll find that I will use myself as a canvas, and I tell stories about what has happened to me, basically because that I'm an experiential learner. So my point in doing that is that hopefully you will recognize yourself and some of your own questions and some of your own actual experiences in the things that I'm talking about, and that you will find some real comfort or joy in calling here and talking with me and talking with all of us as we all join in about those experiences. And yeah, just sharing who you are. The reason why I really, really want to do this, and I'm sitting here in front of this camera, is that it's taken me a long time to find the courage to find my voice and speak what was in my heart and what was my truth. And I am now at a place, and I said this a couple of years ago to friends before I created the live show of My Mom Talks to Dead People, and it was, I felt like I was just going to, that I was getting more and more depressed not doing what I came here to do, which was express my memory of what God is, or that universal flow. And I just want to put it out there to you. I know there's some that will be offended and some that would not consider using a different word at all, but I will use the God term loosely now and then. I am not religious. I'll be very honest with you about that. I find that our source, our flow, our experiences, everything that is in our existence is best defined as God for me. So, and I've taught yoga for 15 years, and I would call yoga union of self with God, whatever you know that to be. And that's how I teach, actually. I also tell people to take what they need from my classes and to leave the rest behind, because it's simply your journey, and all that I am hoping you will do is to start to claim that in new levels and new ways. So with that said, I want to take a step back for a minute and just also point out that I do higher self-communication. So, and I know I'm making it sound very general, like la la la, whatever. There are a lot of people, a lot of beings, a lot of people who know that they are light workers, or they identify themselves in some format like that. There are a lot of people who are extremely empathic, extremely psychic, extremely intuitive, who have gifts and information inherent in them that they've never even acknowledged or were aware that they were using. There are beings who have that same information and are aware of it and would never share it because they don't feel safe in the environment that we live in this day and age to share it, because they would be ridiculed, and that they have the sense that people would actually be aggressively opposed to them. And one of the reasons why I'm doing this is that I've gone through those same feelings myself, and the voice inside my head keeps smiling and saying, do it anyway. Do it anyway, do it anyway, do it anyway. So I stand before you now, doing it anyway. And I deeply appreciate you taking the time to sit with me in front of your computer or wherever you're hooked up, and actually taking time to listen and to consider some of the things we're talking about. And if you have something to add, not only do you have a question or you want to do a little bit of a mini session with me, but if you have something to add that enhances what we're talking about or can teach me, oh my goodness, please call, because I in no way think that I know everything. In fact, I am on a constant journey of learning, and my learning is through experiential learning. I've had a lot of things happen to me that I didn't find in books. I didn't read them in books. They happened, and then later I was shown what was going on. These shows are archived. So if you're a little bit curious to some of those things, I've been telling stories now for the last 2 months. There's at least 8 to 10 archives available, so you could go in and get a quick hit of what I've been up to. They have the full hour shows on, and I hope you will consider doing that. And I hope you will also recognize that I was brand new at this, and I am still learning a lot. So a year from now, I may look back and go, oh my word, but won't I be lucky if I think that. So I will hopefully be standing in a different place. Right now, I'm pretty happy to be right here. All right. Anything I'm forgetting before I get going on a topic here?
Sounds to me like you're doing great.
Okay. Oh, I want to make sure that y'all know, too, if you want to reach me outside of the show, you can go to, obviously, the Spiritual Broadcast Network, but you also can reach me at my own private website, which is www.LeeAnneMoody.com, and that's LeeAnneMoody.com.
It's also in the chat room now.
Okay, great. Now it's in the chat room, and y'all see that. So thank you.
And your email address?
And my email address is lhansard. Although, you know what? I think I'd rather them use just they can find it on the website. Okay, that's a better thing. Yeah. Okay. Don't just nix the other one altogether. Yeah. So let's get started. And what I wanted to talk to you about tonight was that something that's very near and dear to my heart. And we've talked about this a little bit in my conscious movement courses this week. And what it is I grew, and the phones are a little distracting for me, so I have to wait just a second while that goes on and get clear about that. Thanks. Okay. What I wanted to tell you was that I grew up in Pensacola, Florida, and if anybody is watching what's been going on in the Gulf of Mexico, then